Whether we as people and citizens and taxpayers in this community are going to permit these kind of games to be played with us on such an important subject as the collection of garbage and the health implications that come as a result of it not being collected. So we can't be stopped by the fact that somebody throws up their hands and says, well, what can we do? We can't do anything. Well, there is something we can do. And we started by being here today and letting the people who make these decisions know that we believe that their decisions are wrong-headed and that we are not going to be intimidated by what appears to be a situation that we can't avoid. One of the things that we can do is what we're doing here, trying to convince the administration that we can collect this garbage cheaper than it will cost us to privatize it. Now, that should resonate with somebody. I mean, that should make some sense in a city where you are strapped for funds. Why would you continue to pay $2 or $3 million more a year for garbage collection when you don't have any money? So in other words, it doesn't make any sense. And we want the members of the City Council and those who have supported or voted against the ordinance to understand that we appreciate their support, but we need their continued support. Because now the issue becomes much more difficult and citizens start to ask, well, what do we do with our garbage? There's one thing that we can do with our garbage. We can always do this. If the administration refuses to change directions on this, there are a number of options. One, we can take our garbage to City Hall.
Yeah! That's what I'm talking about.
Another option is we can take it to the transfer stations and just dump it. Because the city and the sanitary district, they are already paying the tipping fees at the transfer stations that are owned by Allied. So not only will you pay more money for the garbage collection, the $12 a month or the $7 a month, the city is subsidizing that amount, which roughly is $37 a month. And in addition, under the disposal contract with Allied Waste, they are paying a tipping fee on top of that. So if they're being paid a tipping fee, let's take them something to tip. Let's take them some garbage. And that's what we have to do. There are a number of things that we can say about the situation, but we want to get the
Organizing Project is a neighborhood organization in the Midtown neighborhood of Gary, and we represent residents in that area of town. We've been fighting the privatization of Gary's garbage pickup since last October, and we're here today basically to demand that the city, that General Services, pick up its own garbage. The stand that our mayor is taking today is totally unacceptable. They don't have an option to not pick up trash. He can't just not pick up the garbage. Taxpayers in this community pay for basic city services. For him to say, or for the administration to say that they are not going to pick up the trash, it's just like saying that they will not send out an EMT when somebody calls 911, or they will not send out a fire truck when a house is on fire, or that they won't send out a police officer if somebody is breaking into your home, and that's totally unacceptable. Our administration, by not picking up the trash, is derelict in its duties if it doesn't follow the wishes of the taxpayers. I think our council has spoken and spoken clearly, or our residents have spoken and spoken clearly through our council when they voted down this fee last Tuesday. The administration doesn't have the right to push the city council into passing a fee that they don't believe in. They have yet to make the case that privatizing our trash collection will be cheaper. It will not. They have yet is an insult and is unacceptable. Privatization is rarely cheaper. The city, if held accountable, can do it easily and more efficiently. And again, this is a human rights issue. We also have some of the workers, a number of the workers, former sanitation workers, here with us today. And it's time to have a serious truth-telling about what happened with trash collection in this city. Just like Attorney Grimes said before, this was created, and this was not about malign neglect. This was indeed malicious intent to sabotage the trash collection to make room and make way for this contract with Allied Waste. So I would like to introduce Mr. Talaferro, who is a former sanitation worker, just to talk a little bit about his experience since being laid off from the city, or since being fired from the city.
I just came out to speak in favor of me and some of my co-workers who feel like it's wrong. Because number one, basically,
that you cannot fund a contract for the collection of garbage because number one, the contract that you're working under is null and void. And in addition to that, you can no longer bill the citizens of Gary for garbage collection. The Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission told Indiana Water, you cannot shut off the
We got some unfair labor practice charges filed against the union because the union sold us out. That's right. So this is what we got to do.
What you got?
We got to do what we have to do.
What you gonna do, brother?
What we gonna do?
We was told we were owed union dues.
We're going to the National Labor Board on it. That's what we're gonna do.
I heard
We was told that we were owed union dues, although the city was paying our union dues, and they claimed that they was broke.
They weren't paying union dues. We
And
paid
so
our own.
they stopped paying our union dues, and I was under the impression that I was all caught up in union dues, so I went in for a little altercation, and our union rep, Local 142, told me that I was 2 months behind in union dues.
2 months behind.
2 months behind in union dues, and it was shown every bi-weekly when union dues were being took out that it was being took out on my check, and it was 11 proof. But they still said it out.
That sounds like theft to me, huh?
Right, yeah, that's what it was. It was nothing but a big scam. That's what it was.
All right, brother.
For years, didn't have a CDL, but you found a way to keep them their jobs. You said they was on loan to us in sanitation, so when you got rid of our department, you kept in. You let guys that know how to snow plow in the wintertime, street sweepers, all these different things we could do with a CDL that they didn't do,
and they
couldn't do, they
don't
kept
have a
in
license.
and let us know. So how you feel?